It's about the restoration of our republic. We want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
All right, this is our third segment. You're listening to America's Voice Now. My name is Michael Evans. I'm your host this morning. In fact, I'm your host every day. We broadcast live from 8 till 10 a.m. every morning Central Time. And we're in our third segment. Our first two segments, we talked about TPP and the TTIP, two international treaties that are treasonous to America. Our last segment, we talked about the NSA and how they are now, the new information out this morning is that they're capable of capturing 75% of all American traffic, and the DHS's BOSS system. This is a crowd surveillance system that can pick you out of a crowd through facial recognition. They want to be able to, they can do it up to 100 yards now. They want to be able to do it even longer range. And I got to tell you guys, if you don't see the surveillance state coming down on us like a ton of 1984 bricks, I'm at a loss to understand what world you're living in, because everywhere around you is the information that you need to see. The flags are flying on every play, not one flag by one ref, thousands of flags on every play. And if you're sitting in the stands and you pretend that you don't see all those flags in the air, then I can't believe that you clearly don't have some kind of objectivity about what's happening around us. There's a website that out there. We're going to talk in this segment about three different companies. I touched on this yesterday: Lavabit, Silent Circle, and Groklaw. These are three companies that are privacy-organized groups. Silent Circle and Lavabit offered secure and private email, texting, communications, and so forth and so on. Silent Circle just closed their encrypted email system last week. Lavabit shut down under a gag order. A gag order. Yeah, you heard me right. From the federal government, not to discuss why they were shutting down. Hey, guys. Hello? Police state. Hello? Jackbooted thugs. Hello? Black uniforms with skulls and daggers and lightning bolts. Hello? Pamela Jones is the purveyor and the owner of and the creator of Groklaw, which for years took on what she and vocal fans saw as wrong-headed legal action in the technological domain. Because there is no shield, there is now no shield from forced exposure, says Jones in her final blog post, and there is now no private way, evidently, to collaborate. Now, I want you to hear what the meaning of that is. When our ability to collaborate together as free citizens has been eliminated, and that's essentially what's happening here, this is an elimination, then you've got to ask yourself the following question. Is the First Amendment right of Americans to freely assemble and redress their grievances being violated? Yes or no? In other words, if free people are afraid to collaborate together because everything that they talk about and do is being monitored and surveilled, is that not an impingement, an infringement, a limitation on free speech? It's not censorship, it's coercion. It's fear by intimidation. It's force. It's the force and the power. It's police power. That's what it is. The fear that you will be held, that you will be detained, or the fear that you will be added to a list as an enemy of the state. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a powerful, powerful force. And most Americans desperately fear it. Jones was a paralegal, and she started the site a decade ago to take on the SCO Group's legal attack on IBM when they were trying to block Linux and Unix from becoming, household words. In other words, IBM was trying to, file patent lawsuits against Linux and Unix and all of that to try to keep open source computing from making it out there. And she rebutted the company's position and filed legal briefs and so forth that helped to show that IBM was abusing its authority and its power to render a potential competitor dead, right? She was successful, and SCO's case fizzled, and that's why you have Linux and Unix today, which are considered two of the best operating systems in the planet for widespread server stuff. I mean, it's not much in use for the individual user. Most people are using still Microsoft Windows and such. But I got to tell you, Linux and Unix, from a serving perspective, all these servers that you see in the internet runs on Linux and Unix exclusively. Servers don't run on Windows, trust me. So anyway, so if it wasn't for Jones and Groklaw, we probably might not have an internet as robust as it is today, right? So here's what she says in an email. The site will stay, but forums will not. And she does not expect to return to Groklaw. I don't think there's any way to come back. As for a replacement, meaning for her personally, I don't know of any. Without wanting to blow my own horn, Groklaw was unique. I just happened to have the very skills needed to explain the law to geeks. And the geeks showed up in large numbers to explain the technology to me. It was a unique combination and a deliberate attempt to do something new in journalism. And I'll miss doing it more than I can express. She's withdrawing from the electronic world. Listen to what she says. Now, if this doesn't express the fear of an American citizen who frankly benefited you, in fact, I'm streaming on her beneficial work right now. Here's what she says. My personal decision is to get off the internet to the degree it's possible. I'm just an ordinary person. But I really know, after all my research and some serious thinking of things, that I can't stay online personally without losing my humanness. And now that I know that ensuring privacy online is impossible, I find myself unable to write. Oddly, if everyone did that, leap off the internet, the world's economy would collapse. I can't really hope for that, but for me, the internet is over. I got to tell you, when you combine that with the stories that I talked about yesterday, about Silent Circle shutting itself down and backing off of their email system, their secured email. Phil Zimmerman was one of the founders, and Mike Jenke were the founders of Silent Circle. And Phil Zimmerman was the guy of PGP, right? Pretty good privacy. And now we know that not only was that shut down, but also the Lavabit organization was shut down. Or they forced themselves to shut down, right? Because they are under pressure from the federal government. Lavabit is actually under an enormous amount of pressure in the sense that they have actually been, I'm going to read this to you because I want you to understand the depth of where this falls. And if this doesn't prove the point to you that the government is on a rampage to shut down free speech in this country, I don't know what more you want. My fellow users, I have been forced to make a difficult decision: to become complicit in crimes against the American people, or to walk away from nearly 10 years of hard work by shutting down Lavabit. After significant soul-searching, I have decided to suspend operations. I wish that I could legally share with you the events that led to my decision. I cannot. I feel you deserve to know what's going on. The First Amendment is supposed to guarantee me the freedom to speak out in situations like this. Unfortunately, Congress has passed laws that say otherwise. As things currently stand, I cannot share my experiences over the last 6 weeks, even though I have twice made the appropriate requests. What's going to happen now? We've already started preparing the paperwork needed to continue the fight for the Constitution in the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals. A favorable decision would allow me to resurrect Lavabit as an American company. This experience has taught me one very important lesson. Without congressional action or a strong judicial precedent, I would strongly recommend against anyone trusting their private data to a company with physical ties to the United States. Sincerely, Ladar Levison. All right, we're going to analyze this, and we're going to put on our critical thinking hats, and we're going to read between the lines. He's under a gag order. That's the first thing we know for a fact. Because he's telling you, in no uncertain terms, that he's barred from what he can say. To become complicit in crimes against the American people or walk away from 10 years of hard work by shutting down Lavabit. To be forced to become complicit in crimes against the American people means that he understands his Fourth Amendment and First Amendment obligations. And it also means that to become complicit in crimes against the American people means that whoever is coercing him and forcing him to do that is actually committing the crime, because he would be forced to become a co-conspirator by participating with them. So that means he's telling you in no uncertain terms that what's going on right now and the gag orders that he's under and what they're doing is a crime against the American people. The crime, folks, is treason. Treason. With a capital T, capital R-E-A-S-O-N. Treason. Do you understand the implication of that? Do you understand the depth of the depravity of a government that will commit treason against its own people? After significant soul searching, I've decided to suspend operations because he cannot force himself to be complicit in crimes against the American people. I wish that I could legally share with you the events that have led to my decision. What's that tell you? The word gag order writ large. I cannot. Confirmation. I feel you deserve to know what's going on. But he can't. The First Amendment is supposed to guarantee... Listen. The First Amendment is supposed to guarantee me the freedom to speak out in situations like this. You don't have to read between the lines, folks. He's saying it right to your face. Unfortunately, Congress has passed laws that say otherwise. Treason. As things currently stand, I cannot share my experiences over the last 6 weeks, even though I have twice made the appropriate requests. He's requested that the gag order be lifted and been denied. Twice. What's going to happen now? We're starting to prepare the paperwork needed to continue to fight for the Constitution in the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals. So that means he's already lost in the district court. Harken back to what we talked about yesterday when I explained to you how the court system works. You start in the district court level on federal cases. You go to the appellate court. If you lose in the appellate court, you can go to the Supreme Court. Okay? Those are the 3 levels and steps. A favorable decision in the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals would allow me to resurrect Lavabit as an American company. Now, read between the lines. If I lose in the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, I may resurrect Lavabit outside of the United States of America so I can get around the limitations that they've placed. I pray that that doesn't have to be the case, but I fear it will be. And if he does do so, I applaud his decision to move outside the United States and allow free peoples globally to be free. I'm tired of hearing that everything that we do is monitored to protect us from the infinitesimal risk of terrorism. The terrorists you need to worry about are the people who have issued to him a gag order. Don't you get it? The terrorists are in our midst. They have broken down the barricades. They are inside the city, and they are eating our children. The experience has taught me one very important lesson. Without congressional action or a strong judicial precedent, I would strongly underscore, so he's putting that in very emphatic terms, I would strongly recommend against anyone trusting their private data to a company with physical ties to the United States. So what he's telling you there is what he can't tell you. He knows beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt that everything that transpires in the United States of America is being captured, stored, saved for later retrieval, review, and dissemination. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I rest my case. What more do you need to hear? What more proof do you need? This is a man who's done nothing wrong. He's built a business. He built a business that enables him to operate and earn a living, offering people a way to collaborate and communicate without interference. And yet he's being shut down. Here's what Silent Circle has to say. The importance of this can't be expressed because this is a second confirmation. Silent Circle offered an encrypted email system that, by the way, I disclosed yesterday, the federal government uses itself. So they want it, but you can't have it. And that ought to tell you volumes. Here's the topic of their post. Why email can't be completely private. The closure of two ultra-private email services shows just how weak the system really is. This is the opening statement of his email, of their article, guys. When Lavabit, an email service used by the NSA leaker Edward Snowden, suspended service last week amid hints that it had received a government demand for information, a competing service called Silent Circle made a draconian decision to obliterate all of its customers' stored email as a protectionist measure. The episode pointed out two fundamental weaknesses in email. First, even if an email service encrypts messages for secrecy, as Lavabit and Silent Circle did, the email headers and routing protocols reveal who the senders and the receivers are, and that information can be valuable in its own light. And second, the passcodes used as keys to decrypt the messages can be requested by the government, if they're held by the email company, or simply stolen by sophisticated malware. When email was created 40 years ago, security or anonymity wasn't part of the design. The routing and labeling protocols plainly state what computer sent it or forwarded it, what computer got it, and what time all of this happened. There are far too many leaks of information and metadata intrinsically in the email protocols themselves, says Mike Janke, CEO of Silent Circle. It doesn't matter what you try to do with email. There are these inherent weaknesses. So we got rid of Silent Mail, the company's email service. We deleted all of it, burned it, and threw it in the ocean with locks and chains on it. People lost all their email. But the response went from, "Why would you do this?" to, "Thank you for doing this." Guys, the alarm bells are clanging so loud I gotta shout to be heard over them. Lavabit and Silent Circle and some other providers have offered a straightforward proposition. They will keep your email encrypted at all times, except when you're reading and writing it on your own computer. This is in contrast to services like Gmail, which encrypts email only for the trip over the network, but then stores the messages in the clear on its servers and mines that data to serve you ads. Lavabit founder Ladar Levinson said he suspended operations rather than be, quote, complicit in crimes against the American people. Levinson cannot be reached for comment, but told the New York Times that he was under a gag order, implying that he received a national security letter in which the FBI and the NSA demand information for an investigation relevant to national security and require the recipient to not reveal even having gotten the letter. Guys, when you're told that you can't even reveal the fact that you received the email, the letter, much less reveal its contents, we live in a police state. Existing email services could become a little more private by encrypting header information, they say. But meanwhile, they've basically killed the service. Here's where we stand, and we've got 1 minute left. Congress doesn't care about you, about the sovereignty and the privacy of you as an individual. You know, we talk about government sovereignty, we talk about national sovereignty, but every human being, every member of this nation, every citizen has a right to individual sovereignty as well. And that has already, long ago, gone the way of the buffalo. What you're finding here is proof beyond a shadow of a doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt, beyond any doubt, that what we are encountering at this time in our history is we are all placed under a microscope, that microscope can see through whatever shielding you may attempt to use, and that information is being stored to be used against you at some later date and time, depending upon where you fall in support or opposition to the plans that they have for you. It's that simple, people. Those who will go the way that they're told, who will be willing to sacrifice their friends and neighbors for either their own secrets or their own personal benefit, or to save their own ass, those people will be rewarded. The scurrilous, the skullduggery, the cheating, the lying, the information, the informant, the rat will be rewarded. Short term. But trust me, and every one of you out there who is a rat or has the potential to be a rat, trust me when I tell you that at the end of the day, ask any law enforcement agent what they think of their rat system and the people who are participants in that, right? They're informants. Confidential informant is what they're called. We're out of time. Ask them what they think of the confidential informant. We'll be back in just a minute.